COVID-19 has made fear, anxiety, and grief everyday feelings. There are even reports of suicide by physicians and nurses working at the front lines. In this episode, you will learn why now is the time to ask for help and get a therapist, and the best things I've learned by seeing a therapist. Be sure to subscribe and hit notifications for more episodes. I'm glad you're here. COVID-19 has turned our lives completely upside down. We are all stressed and having to survive with zero idea about what the future will look like. Healthcare workers like myself are feeling particularly overwhelmed during this pandemic. By the end of this video, you will have tools to deal with the stress and reasons to seek a therapist if you haven't already. First, I'll talk about how COVID has already caused psychological trauma to all of us, but for healthcare workers in particular. Trauma is defined as a deeply distressing or disturbing experience. Dutch philosopher Aiden describes trauma as a violation of one's life expectations, causing one to be in a state of extreme confusion and uncertainty. Policies and procedures are changing almost daily at the hospital. I'm sure you already know, we are having to reuse our PPE, our personal protective equipment, due to shortages, and we're scared. I have ER friends who say they experience panic attacks regularly now. I have another nurse friend who was pulled involuntarily. She was forcefully removed from her pediatric unit, meaning she took care of kids, to work on the adult COVID unit. So a few days ago, an emergency room physician in New York City took her own life after witnessing the devastation of COVID in her hospital. There have been reports of increased suicide in Italy by nurses who were overwhelmed by COVID during their surge. I remember watching this video of this ICU physician in Italy, and it just broke my heart. She was definitely in this state of shock. At work, she had to just focus on her patients and the job that needed to be done, but at home, she was just numb. She couldn't have conversations with her family, she couldn't eat, she just couldn't do anything else. No doubt, this is a war, and healthcare workers are the soldiers on the front lines, battling this thing, COVID. So we're trying to do our best, trying to care for our patients, but we're scared, we're worried. Are we gonna get it? Are we gonna take it home with us and give it to our parents, give it to our kids? Not only that, but how am I supposed to protect myself and fight this war if I'm not given the right weapons, if I'm reusing this equipment that's not supposed to be used in this way? But we're all feeling the effects of COVID, even people not at the front lines. What we're all feeling, you, me, everybody, is grief. Grief is defined as a keen mental suffering or distress over hardship or loss. So now that we're on the same page regarding the serious mental impact COVID is having, I'll talk about tips on how to deal with the stress. I'll link in the description a great NPR article with expert tips from therapists. We're all experiencing this trauma, this violation of our normal life, but first, we have to recognize our losses. We have to recognize the grief that we're feeling. We have to acknowledge it and name it, because it's only after we name it can we begin to heal. And I'm not just talking about lives lost and how devastating that is, but I'm talking about the disruptions to our life. And just because we haven't personally lost someone to COVID doesn't mean the grief and the trauma that we're experiencing isn't real, that it's not real to us. It's very real, and it's okay to feel this way. So I'll go over 5 community-wide losses that are causing grief as pointed out by the NPR article. So the first loss is social connections. We're not seeing our friends, we're not seeing our family. Like, heck no, I'm not gonna see my dad and potentially give him COVID if I'm asymptomatic and shedding the virus and give it to, anyway, no, that's not happening. And coworkers, like your work people, that's your second family. So for me, I think a lot of us feel this way. While it is scary that we're still having to go to work, it's nice to have that kind of normalcy, to see our work family still, even though it's definitely different at work. Another loss, another community loss, is habits and habitat. We don't feel safe when we go outside. It's different. Our routines are different. We're not going to grab that morning coffee. I'm not. I'm making my own coffee now, right? These are shocks to our system. Also, losses to assumptions and security. Our assumptions that everything's gonna be okay when we wake up in the morning, that our friends and our family will be okay, that's not there anymore. Those assumptions are not there anymore. That security is lost. Another loss that we're experiencing right now is a loss in trust in our systems, in our government, in our leadership. So now we're feeling betrayed and emotionally really disturbed. I know that healthcare workers feel this acutely meaning like right now, needing immediate attention. I know that across the country, nurses and healthcare workers are not feeling supported by their healthcare system, by their job. They don't have the equipment and they're having to go without. So that's a huge loss that we're feeling. And the last loss is a sympathetic loss for others. So like I said, just because you're not directly affected by COVID, you can feel this. You can feel this sadness for other people that are feeling it. I remember when we first went into lockdown, into shelter in place, I was feeling this overwhelming sadness for people in the emergency room. Like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen to them? We don't have enough equipment. Are they gonna be okay? And then looking to the future, right? So what if they all get it? Who's gonna take care? Who's gonna man the ER? It was a lot. So very real sympathetic loss for others. Which of these hit home for you? Let me know in the comments. Next, I'll talk about 4 tips therapists recommend to respect the grief you've named so you can work through it instead of pushing it away. The first tip is to bear witness and communicate. So we're all affected by this. We're all experiencing this grief. Name it and share this experience with your loved ones in a supportive environment. And this is not about like giving tips. When we experience grief, we just want to be heard and we just want to be recognized. We want these feelings to be recognized. There's this podcast by Nurse Life RN, very famous meme on Instagram. So Nurse Speak podcast, the episode is the Corona-sode, and this one ICU nurse talks about how she thought she was dealing just fine. She had been taking care of COVID patients in the ICU for weeks, and then she finally got on Zoom with some of her nurse friends from elsewhere, and it was finally then that she was able to just break down, and admit all this stress that she's just been pushing aside, because she felt like she had to be strong. She had to put on this strong face, of course, at work, because you have to do the job. And then she didn't want to worry her family members, right, who are of course worried about her being at the front lines. So then she was able to find relief from being with and talking to people that understood what she was going through, fellow nurses. The second tip to respecting your grief is to write, create, and express it. Journaling, creating art, making music are great ways to channel out this intense, painful energy away from inside us. I feel like that's what I'm kind of doing here, and why I'm putting so much effort into YouTube is because this is my way of channeling out all of these feelings and sharing it, and also giving a voice to people that are afraid to talk about it. There are so many people that have talked to me that are experiencing way more anxiety than they're used to. They're experiencing way more sadness, way more uncertainty. It's a lot for all of us. So just here to talk about it. The third tip to respect this grief is to meditate. I'm so happy that meditation and mindfulness are becoming mainstream, but we can all be better at it. Meditation is really just being in the moment. We're taught how to focus on our breath because we're always supposed to breathe. We're not always supposed to think. We don't always have to think. Mindfulness is just being aware and being in the present moment. For example, let's say I'm having like a stressful moment at work, or I'm going down this spiral of thoughts, this rabbit hole of thoughts. What I'll do is I'll first recognize, like, okay, I'm stressed out right now. I'm really stressed out right now. And then kindly, gently tell myself, okay, let's let these thoughts go and let's be present. Let me just take a deep breath and be with my breath for a second. And then sometimes I'll count my breath. 5 seconds in, 5 seconds out. And I'll do that a few times. And then mindfulness can also be about me just listening to the sounds. And better yet, feeling the sensations that you're feeling in your body. I was taught by my therapist that strong emotions, they have a signature sensation in the body. So when you're feeling a strong emotion, like you're feeling overwhelmed, try to isolate it in your body. Try to feel that sensation. Where is it? What does it feel like? So you're in that moment with the sensation, you're watching it, and then it leaves. Yeah, so that's meditation, essentially. It's hard. It's definitely hard because we're always thinking. And then sometimes it does get easier. So, yeah, so meditation. It's great. You can do it all the time. Try to. The fourth tip to respecting your grief is to be open to joy. Even now, during these hard times, there's still so much beauty and things to be grateful for. I can't believe how much better I feel when I get on the phone with my dad. Like, I used to be like MIA, not really like talk to my dad, but now I talk to him and it's like so nice. It's like, hey, how are you doing? You know? And then we just talk to each other. And then like when I woke up sad the other day, he texted me, hey Christine, how are you? I was like, actually, I'm kind of sad today. And then he called me. He's like, oh, whenever you're, feeling homesick, just call me. It was just so nice, so supportive. So yeah. Or I remember the first week of shelter in place, I was feeling lots of things, lots of confusion, lots of worry, lots of doubt, grief. And I got on FaceTime with some people, and it was just nice, to see a face that you can't go to right now. You're not supposed to go to right now. I'm personally finding joy in like when I go for walks, I'm like studying all the flowers. Oh my gosh, so pretty. Look at this detail here. Look at this detail. Look at all the leaves on the trees. Wow, so nice. Oh, look at the people, even though don't get close to them. Don't breathe on them. Don't let them breathe on you. Yeah, anyway. Yeah. Or now, right? All the concerts, all the things are canceled, but there's a lot of virtual concerts, a lot of live streams going on right now. I attended a live a virtual concert the other day, and what I liked was not just listening to, the artist, but also reading the comments. It makes you feel like you're still part of something. Not the same as being there and, bumping with somebody in real life, but it was similar. It still felt like you were part of something, part of a community. So there's still people out there. You just have to find creative ways to connect and then to feel that joy, right? And let yourself feel it. Okay, so all of the tips that I just mentioned are great to do now, but they work exceptionally better when you're actually seeing a therapist. I want to share my experiences with therapy and how it's helped me. So emotions are a spectrum. Let's say you have sadness on one end and joy on the other. If you are suppressing all of the bad emotions, all of the bad feelings, it makes it harder to really fully enjoy the good feelings. You're kind of just in this middle limbo of feeling things mediocrely, if you will. Emotions are like waves, They'll come super intense, they'll wash over you, and then it'll leave. It will leave, and you'll get through it. That is the number one best thing that I've learned through therapy. So before this whole pandemic, life is hard in general, given, and life comes at you fast. It doesn't matter if you're ready for this hardship or not, it's gonna happen. So having a therapist is good because a lot of people, they feel they can't talk about their hardships because it'll make them look weak. So they don't feel comfortable talking to their friends, talking to their family about it for fear of judgment. Having a therapist is having this person that's trained to help you through the hardships. They're not there to judge you, right? They're there to help you grow, help you understand, help you get through it. I almost feel like therapists are almost like psychics. They just see so clearly like what you cannot in the moment, and they will help you figure it out. I hope that gives you a better sense of how important therapy can be and how helpful it can be to you throughout your lifetime, but especially now. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions regarding that or any fears that you still have, seeking help. As you know, I really hope that you take this episode to heart and know that we're all feeling this stress right now, and it's okay if you're scared and you're feeling this grief, because we all are. Yeah, let me know in the comments your thoughts or if you have any questions at all, okay? So that's it for now. Be sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you know when I post new stuff. Follow me on Instagram. My link is in the description. Yeah, meet you again in the comments, okay? Stay safe out there and be kind to your mind.